Hello, here we are again in Rosemary's kitchen. It's been a while actually since we did this because I've been so busy doing all sorts of other things. Today we're going to make some pesto. We're going to make pesto my style, which could mean anything at all really. Here are the ingredients. So we've got some parsley, which is optional, fresh parsley, just the parsley leaves I use, not the stalks. Some Parmesan cheese with a little, what else is it? Reggiano, no, what is it? Another hard cheese, I can't remember now what it is. We've got salt, pepper, garlic, olive oil, and of course the required pesto, the required basil, or should I say basil, as the Americans say. We Brits say basil, you say basil. Right then, so here we go. So I thought I'd just do this. This is the simplest and the easiest thing to do and the most delicious. And you can use pesto for any kind of dish, really. They're really great. It's a great sort of thing. You can eat it on its own, of course, as well. But the way I like to measure the basil leaves is I like to put them in a jug with a measure. And if I press down nicely, you'll see, I don't think you'll be able to see there, but because I make double the quantity that is in the cookbook, I use 32 ounces. 32 ounces if I press it down nicely. It's just a really good way to measure this, because you know what they say in every recipe, they say 2 bunches of this or a bunch of that or a handful of this or that, and I never know what that means. So in there, press it down nice and firm, and in the recipe, in the book, it should say 16 ounces. So what you see here is double everything. So we've got, in the recipe book, 16 ounces of leaves, basil leaves. We've got, I think it's 2 ounces of walnuts. Yes, I use walnuts. I know the original recipe, everybody thinks that pesto should be made with pine nuts. But I like walnuts better for 2 reasons. Number one, they're at least half the price, if not a quarter of the price. That's an incentive right there. But I love this earthy, nutty flavour that walnuts give that pine nuts actually don't give. So I actually, even though they're much, much cheaper, so there's an incentive, I actually feel that they're very flavourful. Parsley's optional. Just, you know, you can see it's, I don't know, just like I know even what's there. Just take a handful. Sorry, I'm doing exactly what I just told you. It drives me crazy. And 4 ounces of this this delicious cheese. I'm so tempted to just eat it right out of the dish. So that's the Parmesan. And anywhere from 2 to 3 cloves of garlic in your. That's for your half, and 4 ounces. Remember, I'm doubling up. You're looking at me saying, yeah, well, that's more than 3 cloves of garlic. Yes, it is, because I've doubled up. And and 4 ounces of olive oil. So if you can, I'll do that again for you so you can write it down. And then you do have to have a good processor, and you literally throw everything in. So we're going to start, I'm going to do the garlic because why not? And because I want to chop that up nice and fine. If it makes a noise, we'll switch off and we'll come back to you in a minute. So switch on is a good thing. Chop that nicely. Takes just a minute. There you are. So maybe another, actually it takes about, wait a minute, 30 seconds or something. Oh, I've got it on. There we go, nice and easy thing. And then I'm going to add the walnuts. I love this machine. Right, so here it goes. I'm going to try not to spill. I did spill some. Kachura is going to be so happy. So let's give those a go. So I'm sorry for the noise. It's making a big noise. I don't know if you can see this, Carolyn, but you know what? I'm going to take it off and I'm going to show you, because look how fine. So it takes a minute. I keep saying a minute is not even a minute, is it? No. One of my minutes is like a blink of an eye.
10 seconds.
And so you bung that in, mix it with the garlic, and then I'm going to just feed
smells delicious.
Can you smell the smell?
Yeah, I smell the garlic.
I'm just going to shove this in a bit at a time. Just throw it in there. You see, there's no finesse with this at all. I just saw a nasty leaf. We don't want that one. It's a bit brown. Let's take that out. You know, when I was sorting them out, you take it off the stalks, and I grow my own, which makes a huge difference because this is fresh out of the garden half an hour ago, actually. And you know, but you do have to watch the leaves. Do not wait until your basil, whatever it is you call it. Don't wait for it to flower, because if it flowers, it has a really nasty bitter taste to it. So in that goes. You can see, throwing it all over the place. I have to say that this machine is the best machine in my kitchen, I think. It's what make is it? It's a Braun.
You got a couple on the back of
I don't know what it is actually. It's not a Braun. What is it? It's whatever it is anyway. I'll figure it out. Whatever that is.
It's right there on the front.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, no, it's a Breville.
Breville.
Breville would never forgive me, would they? And it's Breville, and it's the best. And when you buy a Breville, I just bought Samantha one for her birthday. It comes with 2 bowls, so you actually get 2 for the price of 1 there. So it's really worth it. Plus, it's a fantastic machine. We're then going to take the lid off here because I keep throwing stuff all over the place. So I'm actually going to just add the cheese in like that. And you just throw it in. If you have a smaller Breville, remember I'm doing double. So if you have a smaller, whatever this is, machine, thank you. It's a good thing you're thinking because I'm not. Then, you know, you get half in easily. I'm going to just pulse it just for a minute. And then I'm going to do that. And as I do that, I'm adding half the olive oil. And is this fun? Are we just keeping going, or are we pausing and stopping, or what are we going to do? We're just going to keep going?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just going to give it a little twisty round to make sure that everything's in there. Bingo, bingo. Add the rest of the olive oil. Well, almost all of it anyway. I'm going to add some of the salt and pepper. You can always add more. You can't take it out once it's in though, guys, remember. And I think there's like 2 teaspoons of salt there and 1.5 teaspoons of ground black pepper. I'm going to add that in there. Let's see what happens now. How about that? How are we doing? Looks delicious. Oh, smells off. Add the rest of the olive oil. Now then, how are we doing? Ooh. Oh, put your nose in there. Just put your nose in there.
Oh, gosh. My mouth water.
I know, I love this stuff. So it's nice. Now, if you buy this in a jar, if you buy pesto in a jar, it's going to be much runnier than this. I make mine in almost like a concentrated form. I'm going to show you. It's like, I don't know if you can see that, how thick it is. So I make mine in a nicely concentrated form because then I add olive oil to it as I'm using it, as I'm cooking with it, if I want to. But if I don't want to, for instance, when I'm making my rack of lamb, which is in the recipe book, I use it at this thickness. I smother the rack of lamb with the pesto. This thickness. I'm just going to add the parsley, and because I'm adding the parsley, I'm not going to add all the parsley just because I feel like it. This is cooking. Do it when you feel like it. Once you've tasted it, if you think, oh, it needs a bit more of this or a bit more of that, put it in. This is Rosemary's Kitchen. We sort of go on sensing and feeling and tasting. We're using all of our senses. So let's have another go at that. And then
I see 2 spoons.
Carolyn, Carolyn, and I'm going to, because I want it, because I've added that parsley, it's not quite as, and you see how I've done that, just, you know, close my eyes and pour it in, sort of. Once you've, sorry, I'm picking stuff up. Once you've made this a couple of times, it's like anything else. Once you make it, you know what you like and what you don't like. So once the first time you make it, you might think it needs more of this, or it needs more garlic, it needs whatever it needs. But you can add it. You can always add, you can't take out. Let's give it one more swizz, shall we?
You're losing your apron there, Rosemary.
I'm losing my apron. Oh, can't have that. This is my British apron. Can't lose my British apron. Wait a minute, I don't know what I'm doing here. So anyway, so this is my pesto. This is how I like to make it. And I don't think we've been going more than, what?
11 minutes
11
total.
minutes.
Yeah.
The parsley, I see, hasn't quite. Oh, it's lovely. Oh, my golly. And if I hadn't been talking to you, I'd have been quicker, probably.
Oh, yes.
All right, and that's it. And it's done. When we taste it, if it needs a little more salt, that's exactly what we'll do. And let's bring it over here to this pad here. Let's move all of this stuff out of the way. I'm treading on walnuts as I'm talking to you. I like to keep it in a jar like this. And what I do with it, because I grow my own basil, because I grow my own, you know, during certain months of the year, I make a lot. And what I do is I freeze it, because it freezes really so well. So Carolyn, let's
Do you freeze it in those containers
Yeah,
or
yeah,
not?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do, yeah. Another good idea is, which I sometimes do, I take an ice cube tray and I fill the ice cube tray with the pesto. Then it's a bit of a pain in the butt to do it, but then I actually wrap each individual ice cube pesto in a little bit of foil or whatever, and I put them in a bag and I put them in the freezer. And then if I'm making pasta, for instance, and I want pesto pasta, I'll take a couple of cubes out, maybe 3 if I'm feeling greedy, and just let them thaw out. And as you cook your pasta, and then you toss the thawed pesto into the pasta, add a little bit of olive oil. Bingo.
Great idea.
You could also add, if you're really feeling decadent, a little bit of cream. How much of this would you like to taste, Carolyn?
Oh.
There you are. Go for
okay.
it. Knock yourself out there.
All right.
You can spit it out if you don't like it.
Ooh, it's delicious.
I could spoon this.
Yeah, I thought you were a little stingy.
Oh, well, I didn't know you were going to spit it out.
No, I've had it before.
Too bad. And there's enough salt in there. So again, remember, if it says, for instance, 1 to 2 teaspoons of salt, just put, and as I said, a teaspoon and a half of pepper, put half in, try it. You can always add, but you can't take it out. And so then all I do now is throw it. You can see as I'm taking it out, I don't know if you can see this, Carolyn, properly,
yes.
but you can see the consistency. Now you will not, I don't think, find pesto in the stores that is this thick, but remember what I said, I make mine, it's a much more concentrated version, so that when I use it, if I don't want to use it to spread on my lamb, if I want to put it in bit drop there, if I want, oh lovely, if I want to use it in pasta, I'll add olive oil and a little bit of cream. But if I want to just have it, if you make croutons, for instance, spit that out. Croutons are delicious if you just get some nice thick bread. You spread it liberally with this stuff and pop it in the pop them in the oven, cut them into cubes, pop it in the oven for, you know, about 10 minutes till it's nice and dry and a little bit toasty. They make the best pesto croutons for your salad. And so this, you can see, is, I was hopeful, I've got 2 of these things out. I was hoping that I'd get two of them out of this, but never mind.
Yes, because they're perfect for, you know,
yeah.
giving to somebody.
Well, they're great as a gift. I have a friend of mine who's Italian. I love him to pieces. I've been trying to give him some of my pesto for years because he loves pesto, but I can never catch him. But I'm going to New York soon, and I'm going to take some of this with me, and I'm going to plonk it on his table and see what he thinks to it. Because when he has pesto, you know, I'm sure he doesn't make it himself. I'm sure he has the pesto that's made with pine nuts. And so, there you are. Now, if you were really not wanting to waste all the dregs in the bottom there, you could actually make up some pasta, add a drop more oil into there, and throw it all in the waste not, want not, you see.
Right.
And you throw it into your pasta at the end when your pasta's cooked, and then you've got a really nice pesto pasta. Take this out because there are some dregs at the bottom, and be very careful with this nasty thing. But it is a Breville mixer. I would not have anything else myself. And it's got 2 bowls, and believe you me, I use them both equally. So the smaller bowl is great for grinding stuff. I made some tahini the other day, and all tahini is really just so simple and so easy. It's olive oil and what else is it? Sesame seeds. And you sort of gently toast the sesame seeds. Throw them in one of these, add olive oil, homemade tahini. So there it is, folks. Can you see that? Nicely in there. And putting this on here. Make sure it's sealed really well. And this is going in the freezer because if I open my refrigerator now, you would see I have a big jar of this already because I use it not all the time, but I use it very regularly. So, and clip it in, and look at that for a gift for somebody.
Perfect, thank you.
And how easy? No. Do you want to take some with you? I'll give you some. Not this one, but I'll give you some. And there it is, homemade pesto, absolutely delicious, very inexpensive to make because I use walnuts. Here they are, and that's it. So we'll see you next time in Rosemary's Kitchen. In the meantime, don't forget, when you're in the kitchen, as I always do, of course, I have Gregor with me, but ask your mum, your dad, your family in the spirit world, ask them all to join with you. Listen to them and listen to your senses. Listen, you know, I could have just thrown all that salt and pepper in there, but I listen. You've got to listen to your senses. Listen to what the spirit world is telling you. That makes you a much better cook, believe it or not. Until I see you next time, have a very delicious and blessed day.